Good evening. Good evening. So I decided to hold a short video with a little bit of elaboration regarding like the Ash2Ash, train challenge, Israel train challenge. I mean, I've spoken about it, but most of it was not uploaded. So, in very short, like I recommend, like just hiking this, you know, on this beach at least between Ashkelon and Ashdod. I have done more than that, as you know, tremendously more in the last couple of days and also in the past. But actually, this part is new to me. I'm not frequent like to these cities. Like maybe I should have, but I don't remember when it was the last time I went there. I mean, it would be about 2 years ago. I went to the port of Ashdod to take the leasing new leasing Tesla Model 3 car that since then was totaled. But I mean, out of that, I don't remember going there at all. And I do, walk on the beach. I mean, along the beach of Israel, the Mediterranean beach, a lot throughout my life, and also, I mean, in recently. I recommend doing it during the night because, I mean, obviously, this part of land was manipulated in the past to some extent. I mean, it's a natural formation, of course, the rock, but it was a little bit manipulated. Maybe like a kind of like a practical prank or something like that. I wouldn't go as far as to say like it was part of like a religion, part of a culture, but yeah, I mean probably it's done like by some kind of like group of artistic inspired like teenagers. My estimation between 20 years ago, somewhere between 20 years ago and 200,000 years ago. Like that's the time frame that I think, I mean, probably is, I mean, for this kind of like artistic job. And I mean, it's important, I mean, to go during the night because I think what happened, first of all, it's much more in effect. Like any kind of like ghost ride, I mean, when you turn on the lights, it's ridiculous, like even for children, It's kind of like, it's funny, תחשבו על רכבת שדים, like, בלונה פארק, שפתאום מדליקים את האור, זה נראה כמו חבורה, ערימה של סמרטוטים, כן? I mean, it looks like that anyway, but much more so when you turn on the light, like, suddenly. So, I mean, it's much more effective, like, when the light is off. And also I recommend doing it alone, just, I mean, because, I mean, it's not dangerous at all. It should be said that, I mean, objectively, there is nothing there. Like, it's like, just rocks and a beach, I mean, and it's not like, a stormy beach or something that, I mean, like, I mean, it's all in your head, but, I mean, if you're doing it with a couple of people together, I mean, maybe, I mean, at least, I mean, if you have to just do it with people you like, I guess, I mean, or maybe better to do it with people you don't like, because, I mean, if, I don't know, someone will get into psychosis, I mean, it's better, like, maybe it's advisable, like, I mean, if you have to pull off, like, the crazy reckless, thing, maybe better do it on people that you don't like, I guess. Anyway, from the symbolic, like, aspect, it's like, I mean, huge formations that looks like, I mean, are interpreted by the Neros as living things because that's the usual interpretation of like everything. But the fact that it's huge doesn't mean that it's up to be huge in your body. It means that, I mean, it's more effective there. I mean, because, I mean, it's like, I mean, the tremendous size, I mean, is interpreted as like like urgent plea to do it. And what is it? I mean, they are dark, and the surrounding is not that dark. Now, that's why it's better to do it on times like this when there is like actually still a very, very good visible moon. Like I've done it a couple of days ago when it was full moon or day after full moon. But even now, I mean, there's quite a bit of moon. I mean, the sky should be light, pretty, pretty light. So it's black over, it's dark over white, which means like reduce it or delete it. Now, what I think happens is part of the that is kind of like a snowball effect, because I think that, I mean, that the trained bacteria is fighting, because, I mean, she's reduced, and, I mean, so she's like, she's misbehaving, because usually, I mean, it's a parasite. I mean, it doesn't like usually. I mean, it has no evolutionary advantage in eliminating the host. Even though such things happen, of course. I mean, parasites kill the host, but I mean, it's not like a motivation. The main, certainly not the primary motivation, but but the neurons attack it, so it fights back. And I think that part of the, I mean, hallucinative effect is because of the parasite this parasite, which is, of course, it's a neuroparasite. I mean, it affects the brain. So, I mean, it fights back. Then, I mean, this amplifies like the effect. So it's kind of like a snowball. That's why it's more effective than than usual. But there is something about the place itself. And how do I know it? I mean, you could argue any kind of trip in between, like, sea, like an empty, like black, canvas on one side, and all sorts of like rock formation on the other side will garner the same effect. So my estimation is yes, but to a tremendously lower extent. And why do I say? Just because of experience, because I have tremendous experience. I mean, I've hiked along the the Mediterranean during the day, during the night. I mean, in Israel, I mean, since I was a child and up until now, I mean, it's like, I mean, I always do it. Like, I mean, mostly, mostly in the vicinity of Tel Aviv, because that's where I was born and grew up. This is my like, my parents don't live there anymore, and I don't. I mean, actually, I do live here in Tel Aviv, because in this hostel for homeless people is actually in the Israel Guri Street, tennis guy Israel Guri Street, which is in Tel Aviv. So actually in Tel Aviv now, but I mean, that's the place. I mean, I know this place, this like my childhood, scenery. But I'm hiking. When I hike, sometimes it's up until even by foot, just up and until like Netanya, and even like northern than that. I mean, Yakum even, and but to the south, I rarely reached like much more than Rishon actually. But I many times reached Rishon, like along the beach, but not southern than that. That's why the Ashkelon-Ashdod part was actually new to me. And like, so, I mean, I haven't felt it in the past, like, so. I mean, so there is something with this piece of land that was modified. I mean, again, could be 20 years ago, maybe 1,000 years ago, maybe 100,000 years ago, but I mean, not much like longer. I mean, not. I mean, this is like the time frame, not like way before that, I guess. So it's relatively new, and it's quite effective, but not too effective. Like, I mean, it's a question like how it's affecting the bicycle mechanism, because presumably, I mean, if you are like in a bicycle mechanism with other people that maybe drink your tea or your pee or whatever you call it, it might affect them as well, both for the positive, I mean, and the negative. Like, I mean, so it's a question. Like, it might be beneficial for them. And I know that these people are, mostly they're also pedophile scumbags, like, I mean, from all over the world and certainly Israel. So, like, I don't know. I mean, of course, I mean, I wish them all the worst, but I mean, I really don't know. Maybe it will be for the best for them. Maybe it will be very beneficial for them, because they will lose the bacteria. I mean, I guess they don't want that. I mean, who wants parasite? And they also have it. I know for certain. I mean, they also have I don't know exactly how it happened, but I mean, along the way, it's clear that the people of the Shabak and the Mossad clearly infected themselves with it. I mean, this is clear. This is I mean, obvious that, I mean, everybody is infected with it, because they are, and I can understand how it happened, because they are barbarians. I mean, it's obvious that they will give them, such a biological weapon of such, tremendous potency, and they will infect not only their enemies and their targets, but also themselves. And it's obvious that it happened at some point. So it might be great for them. It might be, it might be kill it for them, or it might drive them insane. Like, I really don't know. I mean, but it's worth trying anyway. I mean, what can you lose? Like 1 million, pedophile people that will lose their mind. I mean, I don't think it's like I mean, I think it's just, it's a good gamble, I would say. Anyway, like, I mean, to any kind of direction. So, as usual, I mean, it's advisable not to eat a lot because you know that, I mean, if you eat a lot, the worm, it's not good. I mean, it's I mean, the idea is to kill the bacteria. So I mean, as usual, I mean, it's not very advisable to eat a lot before the trip. So take some water with you. I actually carried a very heavy bag, but you don't need to do it. It's kind of like just, I mean, you know, for me it was more difficult than it should have been because I've carried a heavy, very, very heavy bag. But I mean, so don't do it. I mean, just, you know, just, I mean, carry, you know, just a little bit of water is enough. And enjoy. I mean, you know, generally, even though it's winter, it's not that cold. Of course, you can enter the water. They're not that cold. I mean, I wouldn't say. Potentially, you can do the whole trip, like, you know, in the water, actually. Like, if you like to walk on the water of the. Because it's not like, you know, it's the ocean. It's much warmer than, you know, the Pacific. But I mean, or the Atlantic. But I mean, it's still winter, so it's gonna be a little bit cold, and I don't know, like whatever you prefer. And don't be stupid. Don't drink alcohol before that. I mean, or during. It's not like, really. I mean, don't be stupid. And that's it. Enjoy. I mean, I've done it, like, you know, Ashkelon, like south to north. Like, I mean, Ashkelon to Ashdod. So I mean, I don't know if it's like the correct, if there is a correct direction. Anyway, that's the direction I've done it. And you know, I mean, write your, you know, your, your, I mean, share your experiences in the comments.